right, so the Browns beat the Jags 27-25, moving to 8-3 on the year. This was a weird game. This was a very weird game, and the officiating, especially at the end, was beyond terrible. I mean, it was laughable. And as soon as I seen Vernon coming around the corner, I knew it was going to be roughing the passer, targeting, something like that. It was almost like you literally could tell as soon as you seen him coming around that edge. And you don't want to blame officiating for everything, right? But some of that was like so bad. The Browns always have that. But the Browns really haven't had a whole lot of penalties this season, and that's been a huge positive. But in situations, like today where you have some calls where, Kareem very well had the right or the first down, and then they move it 2 yards back. It's unbelievable. But you really don't want to blame officiating for everything. Everybody looks at this game, and if you look at the stats, Baker, I just had this pulled up. Let me pull it up again. Baker was, why is that on that? That's weird. Oh, there we go. Baker was 19 of 29, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So from the stats, Baker played fine. He played good. But people watch that game, and Baker had probably 3 bad throws, really bad throws. The one with Higgins was atrocious, right? And people look at that and they say, how is this guy a franchise quarterback? He can't make that. It's one of those things you really can't explain. And, when I looked at that, it seemed like to me Baker was kind of starting to float to the right. And he was on his back foot trying to make a play, and it seemed like he threw sidearmed, and that's not an excuse. I'm just saying I think that's one of those things that he's got to get down, or get over that fear of having balls batted down at the line. That should have been right there, touchdown, and the game would have been a little bit different, right? So the Browns are number 1 in the wild card spot with Miami and the Colts behind them currently. People always look at Baker, and to me, I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism at times. I just feel like, listen, if you're going to criticize the guy when he has bad games, you also need to recognize when he has good games. And there's a lot of people who do that. And you know who you are if you do that. But there's also people where Baker could, go 50 for 50, 50 of 51, 500 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and then miss one bad play, and that's all they talk about. And obviously I'm exaggerating, but that's my point. In some people's eyes, Baker has to be absolutely perfect every week. I think that's just ridiculous. And I'm not saying that, you shouldn't call out his mistakes, but I feel like sometimes people are too critical for things that they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Today, yeah, Baker had some really bad misses, but he also had a pretty good game if you take that out. Maybe I don't make sense. I don't know. A lot of people have a preconceived notion on Baker just because of, his personality. He does the commercials, number 1 pick. People either love him or hate him. And a lot of times what you think about him predetermines what you think about how he plays. You know what I mean? So, you can say Baker was not. You can say Baker wasn't good. I think he did play good today. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. But to me, the issues for this Browns team today in particular, if you don't look at that defense, then you're crazy. I don't know what you watched. Because that defense, it seemed like every time Mike Glennon's not a special quarterback. Mike's got experience. So what he did was they essentially just said, hey, do your thing. And, with his experience, he knows where guys are supposed to be, and he just hit his man. It's not like they did anything special. He's a veteran. And it'd be different if they started the kid that the Jags started last week who threw the 4 picks because he's a rookie. Glennon's been in the game. He understands the game. He might not be the best talent, but he understands. So this Browns defense was pathetic. The run defense was horrible, beyond horrible for the Browns. We kind of expected it to be bad without Miles and Denzel. Those two literally run the defense, especially Miles. But, the D-line and the secondary complement each other. When the secondary can hold on, not literally hold on, but can contain the receivers longer, that helps out the D-line, gives them more time to get there. Vice versa, if the D-line gets there quicker, that, makes the secondary's job easier. The linebackers for the Browns have not been great, but the secondary and the D-line is really what goes hand in hand. And it seemed like today the Browns just had nothing really going for them, especially early on in that game. So the defense was horrible. And shout out to Andrew Sandejo. We hate on him every week. I don't think he played terrible today. I wouldn't say it was great, but he played okay. And for Andrew Sandejo, that's a huge improvement. So, it is what it is. And obviously the Browns' run game, we know what that is. We know how dominant those guys are. Nick Chubb is just spectacular. And, Kareem Hunt, same, we go over this every week, but at the same time, it's like, man, you watch and it's just like they leave you in awe because of their abilities. So, was not a great game. It was, I think, for the Browns and for the coaching staff, it was good to see Baker do what he did today. The good things that he did, it was good to see because in the last 3 weeks, you haven't been able to open things up because of the weather, and that's not an excuse. That's just a fact. Now the Browns see, they can look at this film, see what he did good, what he did bad, and try to work off of that, right, going forward. Now, next week is going to be an ugly one because, Derrick Henry might have 800 yards rushing. So, it is what it is. The Browns are 8-3. They're going to get it to 10 wins at least. They have the Jets and the Giants on their schedule. That should be 10 wins. And the Steelers, honestly, when the Browns play the Steelers, they might be resting their starters, So the Browns have a real chance of getting to 11 wins, So I think it's an interesting situation we got here. It's obvious what the problems are with this team, but I feel like some people look at the wrong things. And it's too easy to hate on the quarterback every week. We gotta take a real hard look at this defense. It is what it is. People are gonna have their opinions. You're not gonna be able to change them. It's kind of the same thing, you talk about with sports and politics. It's like you can show them the truth, you can show them the facts, you can talk about this, but typically because of whatever the media tells somebody, they'll believe it. Same thing with sports media. They talked about for the last 3 weeks, what quarterback's going to be better, Carson Wentz or Mayfield. It doesn't matter because you're playing in a tsunami. So that's my point. I think the Browns, they got the win. That's what matters. They got a long ways to go. They're not a dominant team right now. They are, the Browns have big names, but where they need it, defensively, in the AFC North, that's how you're going to have to compete. And the Browns, they're figuring it out. They're a young team. They got a lot of guys hurt. They got a lot of guys out. I think they'll get better. It is what it is at this point. So let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.